Hey guys, so another day, another release of NGUI. This time it's 3.0.7 with a new layout system that's completely replacing the anchor and stretch functionality that was there in previous versions. Now it is almost 4 in the morning here, so I'm gonna keep this pretty quick on my end, and I'm just gonna give you a quick overview of the layout system itself. So I'm gonna start by creating a sprite. Alt-Shift-S is the shortcut, in case you forgot. So this sprite, I'm going to make it dark, and I'm gonna create another sprite inside of it. And this sprite, I want it to be inset inside the darker sprite, like so. There. Now, I want the white sprite to stay to essentially remain like a sliced sprite in regards to its parent. So when I resize the parent, I want the child's dimensions to scale accordingly so that the border stays in place. Now I can do that easily by specifying a padded anchor. If I choose the padded and I drag in the parent sprite into the target field, you'll notice that these yellow icons show up. Now if you actually zoom further in, you will see the calculated dimensions shown, but that's minor details. Anyway, now if I actually resize the parent, you'll notice that the child's dimensions will resize accordingly. Now at this point, if I was to select the child, I would not be able to resize it just by dragging these values, because it's currently anchored. Now I have two options here. First is I can just turn off the anchor, adjust it as I need it, and turn the anchor back on. Another option is to fill in the values myself in the inspector. If I know that I want the border to be 8 pixels all around, I can just have it be 8 pixels. Now in case you're wondering, left plus 8, so you take the parent's or target's value, add 8. For the right, I take the right value of the target and subtract 8, which is what this ends up being. And top and bottom are the same. So that's the padded anchor. The next anchor type is a relative anchor. In a relative anchor, when you resize the parent, the child's dimensions will stay relative to the parent. Now, when you actually look at the anchor itself, you will notice that the values are in floating points now, and they seem to be in 0 to 1 range. That's actually the case. Although they are not limited to 0 to 1, 0 means left-hand side, 1 means right-hand side. And if you're looking at top and bottom, vertical, 0 is bottom and 1 is top. And of course, everything in between applies. So if I wanted this widget to take the left half of the parent, I will specify left be 0, right be 0.5, bottom 0, top 1. Now, if I was to resize the parent, the child will always take the left side of it. Now, I can actually duplicate the sprite and move it to the right-hand side. And yeah, you will notice that it actually snaps as I drag. That was actually a feature of 3.6. So, 3.06 I mean. Anyway, this one I'm setting it to relative, and when I drag them around, they're going to be like that. But wouldn't it be nice to have both a relative and an absolute anchor? Well, you can by switching to a unified anchor type. In a unified anchor, you get both. So now if I wanted to offset these values a bit, say by 8 pixels, I would do just that. 8, minus 8, 8, and minus 8. Now if I was to resize the parent, you'll notice that the border will remain intact and the sprite will still only take the left half of the parent's rectangle. Oh, and by the way, where you actually choose the anchor in case of unified anchor matters. If I do it in the top right corner of the screen and specify the UI root, you'll notice that now it is actually anchored to the top right corner. If I was to do the same thing in the bottom right corner, you'll notice that it is now anchored to the bottom right. In the future update, I'm also going to make it possible to automatically anchor to sides as well. But in this one, you would have to specify the values manually. Well, there is one other anchor that I haven't covered yet, and it's the advanced anchor. Now, in case of the advanced anchor, you actually get to specify 4 anchoring objects instead of just 1. But aside from that, it behaves exactly as a unified anchor. So in this case, if I wanted something attached to the right hand side of the screen, but I wanted to be able to drag, adjust the top and bottom, all I would simply need to do is clear the top and bottom anchors. And now I can adjust the top and bottom myself, while it will still stay anchored to the right hand side of the screen. That's all fine and dandy with attaching widgets to other widgets and sides of the screen and whatnot, but what if you wanted to attach a widget to a game object in the middle of your world? Well, you can actually do that as well. Here I'm gonna drag in a colored button and say I want this colored button to always be on top of this cube right here. What I can actually do is specify an anchor. I'm just going with a padded one, and instead of specifying a root or anything like that, I'm just gonna drag in a game object there, right into the target field. And if I actually know the dimensions that I want this guy to be, say for example minus 100, 100, minus 30, 30. That's a pretty big button. And now I can actually drag the object around, and you will notice that the UI widget will follow it. Also, if you want the widget to disappear when it goes off screen, you'll notice right now it does not. You can actually do that by checking the hide if off screen checkbox. Now if I was to move the cube off screen, you'll notice that the widget also disappears when it is no longer needed. And that's about it for the new layout system that shipped with 3.0.7. Now of course there were more features, but it is 5 in the morning right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get some sleep. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope this gives you a head start with your adoption of 3.0.7.